American Chopper wasn't just a show about building bikes. It was a front-row seat to one of the most brutal family meltdowns ever caught on camera. For over a decade, millions watched Paul Teutul Sr. and his son, Paul Jr., scream, fight, and eventually destroy everything they built together. The bikes were incredible, sure, but the real story was always the chaos behind them. Now, years after the cameras stopped rolling, the truth about what really happened to the cast is finally coming out. And trust me, it's way darker than anyone expected. Just one day before the American Chopper reboot premiered in March 2018, Paul Sr. filed for bankruptcy. The timing seemed almost too perfect, like a publicity stunt gone wrong. But the numbers were real, and they were brutal. Court documents revealed he owed nearly 50 creditors over $1.07 million. The breakdown was shocking: $151,000 in unpaid taxes to the town of Crawford, $32,000 in judgments, $21,000 in credit card debt, and medical bills piling up. For a man who built an empire on custom motorcycles, it was a devastating fall. His monthly income was listed at $15,000, but his spending habits meant he'd never dig out of the hole. Then came more legal trouble. A mediation hearing with JTM Motorsports turned ugly when Paul Sr. couldn't control his temper, even in court. The company claimed he'd promised to promote their business in exchange for free work on his Corvette, but he never held up his end. By 2020, Paul Sr. made a drastic move, abandoning the massive New York headquarters and relocating Orange County Choppers to Florida. The 61,000-square-foot building sat empty and abandoned, a monument to everything that went wrong. In 2008, the unthinkable happened. Paul Sr. fired his own son on national television. The argument that led to it was vicious, but this wasn't just another screaming match for the cameras. This was the end of everything. Paul Jr. wasn't just losing his job, he was losing his stake in the family business he helped build. The legal nightmare that followed dragged on for years. Paul Sr. tried to force his son to sell his 20% ownership of Orange County Choppers, sparking lawsuits that tore the family apart even further. For 10 years, father and son didn't speak. Family holidays, weddings, major life events, none of it mattered. The silence was total. Then in 2018, something changed. Paul Sr. showed up at Paul Jr.'s shop, and for the first time in a decade, they talked. Cameras captured the emotional reconciliation, with Paul Sr. admitting he didn't want to repeat the mistakes his own father made. But was it real or just good TV? The truth is complicated, and what happened next would prove their problems were far from over. Getting fired by his father turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to Paul Jr. After waiting out a one-year non-compete clause, he launched Paul Jr. Designs in 2010, and it became everything OCC used to be, but better. While his father struggled with debt and legal problems, Paul Jr. landed massive collaborations that put him on the map. He designed custom motorcycles for Blizzard Entertainment's World of Warcraft, creating the Azeroth choppers that appeared in the actual game. Then came the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Out of the Shadows film project in 2016, two incredible bikes that showcased his evolution as a designer. But Paul Jr. didn't stop at motorcycles. In recent years, he's transformed into a serious car collector and stepped into the elite world of concours d'elegance judging. At events like the Amelia and Greenwich, he's rubbing elbows with blue blood collectors, and he knows exactly what some of them think when they see him. But he doesn't care. His eye for history, beauty, and scarcity has earned him respect in circles that once would have dismissed him as just another reality TV star. Today, with a net worth of $2 million and a thriving design business, Paul Jr. proved he never needed his father's shop to succeed. Mikey Teutul was always the comic relief, the goofy middle brother trying to keep peace while his father and older brother destroyed each other. But behind the jokes was a darker reality nobody wanted to talk about. In December 2009, The show revealed something that shocked viewers. Mikey had checked himself into rehab for alcohol addiction. For Paul Sr., who'd battled his own substance issues, the reaction wasn't sympathy. It was anger. As family tensions exploded during Season 6, Mikey found himself pushed out of Orange County choppers entirely. His father couldn't forgive him, couldn't see past his own disappointment. The rejection crushed him. But Mikey didn't give up. He fought through rehab, got sober, and started rebuilding his life on his own terms. He opened an art gallery showcasing his paintings, launched factual LLC, a pasta sauce company that's still running today, and even started a podcast where he reflects on the chaos of his OCC days. The relationship with his father slowly healed over the years. Unlike Paul Jr., who spent a decade in complete silence with their dad, Mikey found a way back. In 2021, Paul Sr. posted a photo of them together with the caption "Twins," a sign that maybe, just maybe, some wounds can actually heal. While the Teutul family drama dominated headlines, the rest of the OCC crew quietly scattered to the wind. Vinny DiMartino, the fan-favorite fabricator, left in 2007 to start V-Force Customs with young prodigy Cody Connolly. For a while, business was good, but the market shifted and V-Force eventually transformed into DiMartino Motorsports, focusing on car and truck repair instead of custom bikes. Rick Petco tried to stay neutral during the Paul Sr. and Paul Jr. war, maintaining relationships with both sides. He even attended Paul Jr.'s wedding, one of the few people who could bridge that gap. But the daily 90-minute commute from Pennsylvania to the New York shop eventually wore him down. He left OCC and took a job as chief fabricator at Pocono Mountain Harley-Davidson, literally a mile from his house. Now he also runs a knife-making business on the side. Then there's Cody Connolly, who joined OCC at just 14 years old and amazed everyone with his skills. After stints with Vinny and Paul Jr., he walked away from motorcycles entirely. Today, he works for a utility company, a stunning pivot from the kid who seemed destined for custom bike stardom. But the departures weren't all peaceful. Lawsuits followed several cast members out the door. The legal troubles went way deeper than just father versus son. In 2007, Turner Construction filed a lawsuit against Paul Sr., Paul Jr., and brother Daniel, alleging fraudulent transfer. The accusations were serious. They claimed the Teutuls transferred assets, personnel, and contracts to a new company while deliberately bankrupting the old one to dodge creditors. A 2005 ruling had already gone in Turner's favor, and now the trustee wanted everything reversed, and the new company held liable for the old debts. The settlement? Orange County LLC paid $500,000 to be distributed among creditors, but the damage to their reputation lingered. Cody Connolly sued OCC and Paul Sr. in 2009, claiming he was only paid for about a third of his actual appearances and received nothing for promotional events. Worse, he alleged the show continued using his image on merchandise long after he left in 2007. Oh, and that custom old-school chopper Paul Sr. promised him on camera? Never got it. Then there was the bizarre JTM Motorsports mediation in 2018, where Paul Sr. allegedly couldn't control his temper during what was supposed to be a peaceful legal discussion. These weren't just workplace disputes, they were a pattern of behavior that painted a very different picture than what viewers saw on TV. Today, Paul Sr. is in Florida running OCC Roadhouse and Museum and filming OCC The Next Chapter, a new show expected to drop sometime in 2025. Paul Jr. remains in New York, running his successful design business and living a life his father probably never imagined for him. They're on speaking terms now, but they're not working together, and Paul Jr. likely won't appear in the new show. Mikey's sober, creating art and selling pasta sauce. The crew has moved on to quieter lives. American Chopper changed reality TV forever, proving that family drama could be just as compelling as the actual work being done. But it also showed the cost of putting your worst moments on display for millions of viewers. Some wounds heal, like Mikey and his father. Others just scar over, like Paul Sr. and Paul Jr. The cameras captured it all, but they never showed what really mattered, whether any of it was actually worth it. Here's the question nobody wanted to answer. How much of American Chopper was actually real? Paul Jr. himself admitted years later that getting fired was a big favor because it freed him from his father's controlling nature. That doesn't sound like a man who was devastated by what happened. It sounds like someone who saw an opportunity. The fights were real, that much is certain. The screaming matches, the thrown tools, the genuine hatred in their eyes. You can't fake that kind of intensity. But the situations? The manufactured deadlines? The constant drama that just happened to occur whenever cameras were rolling? Reality TV has never been about reality. It's about creating compelling television. The show's producers knew the Teutul family dysfunction was ratings gold, so they fed it, amplified it, structured entire episodes around it. What might have been a brief argument became a season-long storyline. The toll on the family was real, though. Relationships destroyed, years of silence, legal bills in the hundreds of thousands. All for a show that kept getting canceled and revived because networks couldn't decide if the drama was worth the headache. American Chopper ended multiple times for a reason. Eventually, even the most explosive family fights stopped being entertaining.